Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching or listening to us from. This is the Niger FC podcast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me my reliable co-host.
Smith Layi, thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, guys. We have another fantastic conversation coming up. Lots to talk about today. And of course, like I mentioned, the cocoa of the hour, the main gist for today is the Super Eagles squad. I know you guys must have seen the list by now. We'll go over it again. We'll share our opinions, we'll share our thoughts, who we think should have been in, who we think should have been out. And it should be a fun conversation. We'll also touch on the weekend performance like we always do. We'll talk a little bit about the NPFL, and we'll talk a little bit, just a little bit, about the Super Falcons as well. But the bulk of the show will be spent on the Super Eagles. Okay, before I get into the conversation, let me just hail Victor Balogun. Thank you for joining. If there's anybody else, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know where you're watching from so that I can just greet you very quickly before we get into the gist. Please let me know where you are tuning in from. You guys keep on engaging with us, keep on joining us every week, and without you, there will be no show. So I have to say thank you very much. It is, it's not taken for granted. I will say that it's not taken for granted at all. And as always, please do not forget to like the video. Do not forget to like the video. We need those likes. It helps send a good signal to YouTube about the content that we're producing. It helps us grow. Please do not forget to like the video. If you would also like to support, you can leave a super chat while the show is going on. You can also join the channel as a member to support as well as to receive and watch exclusive members only content, which we're working on a lot more members only content to come. Aref Bakari from Miami, thank you very much for joining us. And Yola Obidare from the USA. USA is big. Where exactly are you? But thank you for joining us nevertheless. Your support is appreciated. Your viewership is much appreciated. Okay, let me get into the review of the weekend. So like I always do, I'll just touch on a number of Nigerian players that performed well over the weekend, highlight certain players here and there that maybe deserve a little bit of recognition, and then we'll try to make it quick. Godfini Tahusa is joining us from Edo. He says, "Hi, AyoT and Smith Layi, you're doing an amazing work. Keeping us updated. Thank you very much. Thank you very much." Eniola says it's in Texas. Okay, even Texas is big. We're in Texas, eh? But okay, so yes, review of the performances from this past weekend. Goalkeeper, the only goalkeeper that is worthy of highlighting this past weekend was Maduka Okoye. Kept a clean sheet, made three saves for Udinese. Good performance from him. In defense, we had quite a number of defenders that performed well. We had Bruno Emechi with 13 goals, won three clearances for Boavista. Faith Obilo, clean sheet, 12 goals, won nine interceptions, seven clearances for PDRM FC. We had Stephen Eze with a clean sheet, seven clearances, five interceptions, two blocks for Jamshedpur. We had Abel Gucci clean sheet and an assist for Trelleborg FF. In Sweden, we had Uchena Ariarism, clean sheets, 10 goals, won, three clearances, three tackles, two blocks, all round good performance from him. For Bani Kostrava, we also had Vince Osuji with three tackles and nine clearances for Kalmar FF. Toby Alagbe, two tackles, two blocks, five goals, one for Asteras Tripolis in Greece. Michael Ologo, eight goals, won, five clearances, two tackles for Istanbulspor in Turkey. Chibuike Nwanwu, one assist, five interceptions, four tackles, 12 goals, one. Fantastic performance from him for Wolfsberger. Olaoluwa Kayode with a clean sheet and a good performance for Kauno Zalgiris. Olaino, five clearances, six goals, one. Good performance for Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Friday Adams kept a clean sheet, won nine goals, won five tackles, made four clearances, three dribbles completed, two chances created for FC Botosani. And then Kenneth Mama, probably the most impressive defender from right wing back, won seven goals, won two tackles, and scored two goals from right wing back for CD Castellon in the Spanish La Liga 2. In midfield, number of midfielders to highlight. We had Frank Onyeka did well, 9 goals, won 4 tackles, 2 chances created for Augsburg in Germany. David Moses with 10 goals, won 4 tackles, 2 chances created for MFK Karvina. Abiodun Oguniyi scored 1 goal for FK Auda in Latvia. Anthony Dennis, 10 goals, won 4 dribbles, 2 tackles for Gostepe. Wilfred Ndidi, 3 tackles, 6 goals, one for Leicester City. Innocent Bonke, 3 tackles, 6 goals, one for Adanaspor. Obina Obodo, 2 tackles, 5 goals, one chance created for FC Cincinnati. And then, of course, the forwards. Fred Onyedima scored his first goal of the season, created a chance, and won 4 goals for Wycombe Wanderers. Bright Edomwoyi scored a goal and won 6 goals for DVTK in Hungary. Goodness Ajayi was also on target for NK Opatia. Chidera Ejuke, 5 dribbles, 3 chances created, 9 goals, won for Sevilla in their derby victory over Real Betis. Controversial penalty in that game. I didn't think it was a penalty, but our Niger boy got the win regardless, so I'm happy for him. Abdullah Shoaibu scored 1 goal for Kabbalah. Chidi Osuchukwu scored a goal for PDRMFC. Salim Fago, you might remember him from under 20, forced an own goal. Initially it was given as his goal, but got changed to an own goal. But good performance from him for NK Istra. Matthias Oyewusi, 1 goal and 1 assist for Valenciennes in the French third division. Peter Itoro scored a goal for Dynamo City. Chinonto Emeka scored a goal and won 9 goals for AS Trenchin. Gift Monday scored a goal and created 2 chances for UD Tenerife. She was the MVP of that match. Chuba Akpom scored a goal and won a penalty for AFC Ajax after coming off the bench in their win against Groningen. Victor Boniface, 1 goal and 1 chance created for Bayer Leverkusen. Ademola Lukman, an assist, 6 chances created in total, 3 goals, one all-round good performance for Atalanta. And Rashida Ajibade with 3 chances created, 4 goals, one for Atletico de Madrid. And finally, Stephen Alfred with 2 goals for Dynamo Minsk in the Belarusian first division. So yes, shout out to everyone that did well. Shout out to all the Nigerian players that performed well. Hopefully they can keep it up. The players in the smaller leagues, hopefully they can keep doing it so that they can get into bigger leagues. And the players that are in the big leagues, hopefully they can keep doing it so that they can get more global recognition. But a good week for Nigerian players, I must say. Smidlai, anybody there that stood out to you?
In all honesty, there's no. I think I would just have to mention Victor Boniface, but I don't think there's really a big performance from a Nigerian player. Because
Mm,
when I also saw your Eagle striker team of the week, I was looking at 3 tackles, 4 tackles. I was looking at the stat: 3 tackles, 4 tackles, clean sheets. That's justified. 1 assist. It's not as if someone just painted Europe with goals. But
mm,
we wish them the very best of luck. For me, not eventful week. Maybe they are trying to I don't want them to get tired, but I just think that they should try and work harder after the international window. But Victor Van Face is actually what a player that I really actually impressed me.
mm. And I will say, like you rightly mentioned, there are not too many very exciting performances, but
Mhm,
I'll just highlight Chibuike Nwaiwu. He played as a centre back for Wolfsberger AC. He's
mhm,
originally a midfielder. He joined Wolfsberger from Eimba in September,
mhm,
and he has adapted well to Austrian league football. He has been doing well. I think he's played 4 or 5 games for them this season. He has
mhm,
been doing well, playing mostly as a centre back, but I think
mhm,
in one game they actually played him in his natural position of
mhm.
DM. But in this particular match, this past weekend, even though they lost the game 3-2, his performance was quite immense. We posted the his highlights on our Twitter page. People have been complimenting him. He looked like a really, really good player in this last match, and hopefully he can continue like that. He's only 21 years of age, so if he keeps performing like this, he's a player that I would not be surprised if I see him in a bigger league by next season or the season after that, and hopefully he can keep on rising higher. And then I'll also shout out Ademola Lukman, who was the star of the week for on Eagle Striker. He only got 1 assist, but if you watch that game, his impact was felt everywhere. He got pre-assist for another goal. Of course,
Yeah, he
pre-assist
ran the
doesn't
show.
go on the stat
He
sheet.
got his stats.
He created 6 chances in general. He ran the show for them essentially. So shout out Ademola Lukman, Ballon d'Or nominee, incoming
And
African
I don't know
Player of
why
the
it was
Year.
taken off too. I
I
don't know
think
why
the
it was
coach maybe just wanted to rest him.
okay
I think the
for
coach maybe just
Nigeria.
wanted to rest him,
Rest
and
for
just
Nigeria.
let him. Yeah, I mean, he has been playing a lot of football. They know he's going on international duty as well.
Yes.
So if the game is won, because I think when they subbed him off, it was already 3-1.
Three
So
zero.
it's like 3-0 exact. So if the game is over, might as well just let him rest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to him. Okay, let me see. Osaro is joining from Canada, Niagara Falls. Thank you very much. Pretty Savage is in Oshun State. Thank you. See, Collar Bright said, Smith, this one I wear not time for jersey today. Lawal says, Ola from Newcastle, UK. Thank you very much, Ola, for joining. Okay, so yes, those were the performances from our Nigerian players abroad. But of course, we also had Nigerian players in action in Nigeria. Let's talk about the NPFL very, very quickly. I think one of the major stories is that Remo Stars, who we spoke about last week as unbeaten, they lost this week. Rivers United are top of the table after 5 match weeks, looking very good. Lagos's own Ikorodu City still struggling, languishing at the bottom of the league. But the story that dominated headlines was the return of Super Eagles legend, Super Eagles' most capped player. I'm talking about Ahmed Musa. He made his return to Kano Pillars this past weekend, and he made a goal scoring return. He scored 2 goals and missed one penalty for Kano Pillars in their 2-0 victory over Sunshine Stars. So he definitely made his presence felt. A lot of people have been reacting to this. And lest we forget, Abdullahi Shehu also joined Kano Pillars. But Smidlai, what's your reaction to Ahmed Musa coming back to the league and scoring 2 goals on his third debut for Kano Pillars?
And we know that Musa, they love, that Musa actually would ask for that league. Don't forget that Cannon Pillar has been his first love in Nigeria, and for him to say he wants to come back, because I don't think there's any offer coming from Europe or Asia.
Mm,
So for him to come back, I think it's a plus for the league. If you remember last edition or so, talking about the signature signing in the league, we spoke about that, and maybe Musa listened to that. That's why you just see Musa just joined. Before you guys do your second episode, though, next episode, though, we're going to play for Canon Pillar. So I call that senior signing. I just think that this time around, you'll be able to play away game. Last time around, he didn't play. He didn't play away from home. I just think that he'll be able to actually play away from home, and we see exactly how it goes. For me, I think it's good for the league. Maybe when it comes to the southern part of Nigeria, we can actually we'll be able to see him. You know, fans will
mm,
come to the stadium and actually will see him. For me, fantastic, and his performance was also good. Let me just point out this one too. Sunshine Stars that lost the game to Canopilas. Instead for them to be posting how they lost, they were posting about Ahmed Musa, how Ahmed
mm,
Musa ran the show. Even his opponent self, they don't say, guy is here. So for me, it's good for the league, and I'm happy that Musa is back.
mm. So, Bismillah, you
Yeah,
said you want him to be playing away games now.
yeah,
His next game for Kano Pillars is against Aqua United.
yes,
If now you, I don't know how far away it is from Akwa Ibom
yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
Kano,
Mm-hmm.
but you want Ahmed Musa to enter bus and drive from Kano to Akwa Ibom.
I think this time around, Ahmed Musa should be able to like look for a way to get a jet for them. At least clubs are doing it. Rangers are Rangers are traveling on anything that's actually maybe they're traveling. I can see them traveling around the country with what? Flying around the country. Remo is flying around the country. Bender Insurance is flying around the country. What is stopping Campus from doing that? See, Campus they are not Abia Warriors that went through 90 balls and went to go
Mm.
and play the next day against FA Cup final against Economy Warriors. So I think that part of the contract too should be like way to transport them around the country, because it's going to be unfair to be moving our.
Wait, you say part of the contract. So instead of the club to be paying him money, na ain't go they sponsor the club transportation. That's part of his contract.
So for me, I think I think that they should look for a way to make him comfortable in that place. And it's a big brand, and I just think that they should also look for a way to to get him to those type of venues. Aqua, is a sports city, in Uyo. So I just expect him to be there. I just hope that one, and it maybe it go take plane, others go take boat. I don't know, But maybe I don't know how they were going to do it, but I just think that they should
Mm,
find a way to get him there.
I mean, I hear you. I know that obviously it will be a good thing if we can play the away games. I
Mm-hmm.
just think it is going to be difficult to make it happen. I also don't think it would be a good look if the rest of the players enter bus and Ahmed Musa enters his own plane or books his own flight or enters jet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would be a good look,
Mm-hmm.
because people will be saying, why can't you, do for all your team? Are you bigger than everybody else? All sorts of things. So I don't know how they're going to figure it out. Me, I honestly think that the man is going to be chilling at home,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll come when they're playing at home. He'll play his game. When they're away, he'll say good luck to the guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think it's a good thing for the Kano Pillars. I think it's a good thing for the league. Even though I think Kano Pillars did not necessarily do a lot to benefit from the publicity that they could have got or that they got from Ahmed Musa returning. I hope that they can do better moving forward, but still, I'm happy to see our legend back in the MPFL. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe this can motivate other players as they're wrapping up their careers. They can be thinking of coming back to give to the league, especially the ones that were playing in the league before they went abroad, the likes of Uncle K, Omero, that started in Nigeria. Maybe they can decide to come back and do it as their youth service, to give back to the league. It would be an interesting one. And just before we move on, let me just play the highlight of the goals, and we can comment on his goals very quickly. Okay. Two goals for Ahmed Musa on his debut. Smilai, your thoughts on the goals?
Fantastic goals. The first one is a classic Ahmed Musa finish. And the second one, just normal. So good goals. That first one just reminds you of a prime Ahmed Musa.
Mm.
So but very very good. I mean, even like as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a good loss for Sunshine Stars because most of them saw their heroes and everything. So it's a good loss for them.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first goal was definitely a well taken goal.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well taken goal. The second goal, they need to find that defender one week,
Mm-hmm.
1 week match wage because I don't know why he headed it for Ahmed Musa to finish, you know. But like you said, maybe he was in awe of a legend, playing
Yeah.
on the pitch with him,
Yeah.
or maybe he just got his bearings wrong. But
Yeah.
that's the kind of goal that if your team should concede, you'll be cursing that defender, because what are you doing, bro? But still, a good one for the league, a good one for Kano Pillars, a good one for Ahmed Musa, our skipper. I mean, he's not retired yet, so technically he's still the skipper if he comes into the team. But yes, that was the biggest news, the biggest talk of the NPFL this past weekend. Smithai, anything you want to say, or should we move on?
So for the MPFL.
Yes, move on from NPFL, or you want to say
Okay,
something?
yes, no, good week, good week. And apart from Ahmed Musa, there was also a fantastic performance from Michael Ogbu. of Atlant. Atlant got their first win, with our own Amuneke, as their coach. So they got their first win. It was a very good performance from Michael Lugu against what? Against Nados. And Shola Abdurrahim too broke Remo Stars' heart in Ilori when he scored that goal that ended Remo Stars' unbeaten run. But it was somehow because Remo Stars got a red card. I said possible, but the game ended in favor of Kwara United. So and they have not been doing well, at home. Imagine that they drew against Ikorodu. Now they are beating the league leaders, Remo. And
Mm,
also too, Abia Warriors, what's it called? Abia Warriors too. They lost to a very good Kazim Ogunleye's goal against Rangers. It was a very good left free kick, in at the cathedral in Enugu. And I saw the coach of Abia, the coach of what's it called? Of Rangers celebrating like Mourinho, maybe he's the Nigerian Mourinho in the league. So it was a very good weekend too, and also what's it called? Rivers United actually what they won. They came, they actually we were drawing 1-1 until they actually what's called the winning goal against what against Aqua United. They actually was a very good home game. Aqua scored a very beautiful goal against them, but Rivers will find a way to win, especially when it's actually what at home. So Rivers is back on top as usual. Anybody that the only Nigeria, club left in the continent, they are back in
mm,
second place, and also, but it's very tight on top. So just to let people know that Enyimba signed 21 players this season.
mm,
So I don't know, I don't know how they can do that. 21 players is massive, but so a lot of people that have been saying Enyimba is not playing well, they should please, stay calm because signing 21 players in a single season, I think is a lot. So I think the team needs time to actually want to do well. Good MPFL season, good goals. I just hope that it continues. When we resume for match day 6.
mm. All right, all right. Thank you for that roundup. Thank you for that roundup. The MPFL is definitely getting more and more interesting as the days pass us by. Okay, let us move on to the next topics. I will say this one we just want to highlight a number of players that have performed well for their clubs and have been rewarded with awards. We'll start with Chidera Ejuke, of course, joined Sevilla this summer, has been impressive, has been lighting it up. And Chidera Ejuke was voted as the player of the month for Sevilla in the month of September. Smith Layi, your thoughts on that one?
So I've started watching Sevilla's game since Chidera Ejuke joined. I remember even his first game against was the Orlando Pirates. I watched,
And
so
preseason.
I've never missed any of those games. Fantastic, a very good player, and it's a player you yourself believed in a lot. Like you kept on saying it several times that this guy can play ball, and you never compared him to Kosha, but he says close to the legendary Gigi Kosha. The way he dribbles and everything. So for me, he has been doing well. I don't think there's any Sevilla player that is actually what better than him this
Mm,
season. And I think that if there have to be nominees too for La Liga Player of the Month, I think the name of Chidera Ejuke should be mentioned because of his impact this season. So this September. So I'm happy. I just hope that he can actually keep. He can continue to actually do well. Some people criticize that oh, he's dribbling, he's not scoring, but now you can see that he's impacting games with those dribblings. And
If if Luke Bakio has been taking those chances that Chidera Ejike has been supplying him with,
yeah,
his stats will look a lot better than they look.
yes,
Sevilla actually miss a decent number of chances, and Luke
chances.
Bakio, even though he's a good player,
Mm-hmm.
is somebody that has been missing a lot of chances.
If you look at the goal he scored against the last game against Betis, he scored that goal and it was just one careless offside decision that actually what went against him. So it's a guy that has been there. So I'm not. I think he deserves to be the player of the month for Sevilla, and I think that you know is doing well.
Mm. All right. Congratulations to Chidera Ejuke. Next player that I want to highlight is a player that not only was nominated or voted as the player of the month for her club, but also for the entire league. I'm talking about Super Falcons captain Rashidat Ajibade, the player of the month in the Spanish Liga F. Of course, she's the first Player of the Month recipient in the La Liga or the Liga F and EA Sports partnership. In 3 games in the month of September, she managed to score 5 goals and get 2 assists. So, I mean, that's as fantastic a performance as you can have in one given month. And hopefully she can continue like that. I think in the whole of last season, I think she scored 10 goals.
Mm-hmm.
So if she can score half of that in one month,
Mm-hmm.
then she's on track to probably have her best ever season since she joined Atletico de Madrid. And of course, you guys know I like Rashida Ajibade, so I'm hoping that she can continue on that note and she can continue to perform and be a very very top player in the Liga F. It's very hard for you to shine in that league sometimes if you don't play for Barcelona because Barcelona just dominate and dominate. So I'm happy that she beats Pastor to the award, and a lot of people were rather Power, not Pastor. A lot of people Pajo, or is it Pajo? Yeah, I think her name is. But the Barcelona player, and a lot of people were complaining. Ewa Pajo, yes. A lot of people were complaining that why is Pajo not the player of the month? But with Ajibade's performance and statistics, I feel like she was the clear um, winner of that one. And I hope that it continues. Smith thoughts on Ajibade's
You know,
award?
like currently, like I said, you know about the lack of WAFCON and also Nigeria poor performance at the Olympics. I think she's currently the best player in Africa, and I think that for her to win that award, she deserves it. And this is not just scoring goals, it's about her overall performance on the pitch. She's always everywhere. She wants to be the leading involved, in everything. She's all action. She's got this swag to her game, the way she carries herself, you can see that this is a player, it's a mature player. And I can see that FIFA too, they posted one of her pictures. I couldn't recognize that. I was worried that who is this player? Not knowing that it was actually what Raj. So I'm really happy that she got this recognition, and big clubs could be looking at her. So
Yeah.
I know Atletico Madrid is a big club too in Spain, but I just think that bigger clubs, maybe just a bigger club, could actually be looking at
Mm,
her. So for me, I think we have another African Player of the Year in making.
mm, mm. Amazing, amazing. Congratulations to Rashida Ajibade, the girl with the blue hair. And hopefully she can continue like that for the rest of the season. Okay, let's wrap up our awards talk with a player that has been nominated, has not won yet, but has been nominated for his club's Player of the Month award. I know Smith Layi, you will be happy about this one. I'm talking about Chrysanthus Uche. Chrysanthus Uche has been nominated alongside 4 other players for Getafe's Player of the Month award. I believe he did not win. Okay, actually, he was nominated, but he did not win. Boya Mayoral was chosen as the winner. But Smidlai, what do you think about this guy? Coming into the La Liga, starting playing in an unnatural position, and being nominated for his team's best player in the month of September. What are your thoughts on that?
For you have tracked him very well. I think you are even more of a Getafe fan now than me. At least you have watched him very well. He's a player that you always see his impact on the pitch. I remember you saw one of his games, maybe probably against Alaves. The way he
Mm,
was fouled, several times. He's always all action. He helps his team defensively when they are going forward too. He also do his own base too. For me, I think there's only one winner, and that is actually what Cristiano Sushi. So I don't think that they should be. I think he won the one for last month or so.
yeah,
So yeah, he won the one for last month. For me, I think there's only one winner, and that's actually what Cristiano Sushi. I just hope that the coach, God can just give him that wisdom to say, okay, this boy should play in his natural position. For me, I'm glad that a player from Division 3 is becoming Sevilla's best, no,
Getafe.
Getafe's best player, in the first 2 months of the league. That shows that, he's got some potential.
Mm.
Maybe
Amazing, amazing.
slightly, maybe slightly above Getafe level.
Mm,
Slightly
mm.
above Getafe.
Shout out to him, man. Like, I mean, he's doing very, very well. I've been catching most of the games, even the ones that I don't watch live. I'll go back and watch and see how he performed, just to
Mhm.
keep up with him. A lot of debates around him and things like that. I'm sure we'll still talk about him later in this program as well. But he didn't win the award, but at least happy to see him nominated. He won the one last month, nominated for
Mhm.
the second month in a row, and hopefully he can keep it going like this. Maybe when Getafe are back to full strength, because they only have four forwards in their whole team, so
Mhm.
the coach seems not to trust any of the forwards. I mean, Mayoral, that just won the Player of the Month, is one of the few forwards that has actually been playing well for them. So hopefully Uche can move back to midfield and we can see what he really, really has to offer. But if not, we'll keep on hoping that he performs like this and keeps on impressing. And who knows, maybe in January or in the summer, somebody better can even come for him. And his career seems to be on the right path right now, and I'm,
Mhm.
I'm happy. I'm happy for that. I'm happy for him. So yes, Cristiano Suchet, congratulations on your performance in the month, and hopefully you're the player of the month next time. Okay, let's talk about continental competition. So, like Smith Layi had mentioned earlier, only one Nigerian team remains in contention, and that is Eimba. And the draws for the CAF Confederation Cup were held, I believe it was 2 days ago or
Yeah.
thereabouts, and they
Yeah.
have been placed in a group that is an interesting one. Um, Eimba will be going up against Zamalek SC, Al Masri SC, two Egyptian clubs, and Black Bulls of Mozambique in Group D of the CAF Confederations Cup. Um, I mean, it's not the easiest group in the world, I will say. The parts that made me happy is that they are playing against Black Bulls. Black Bulls is a team that has three Nigerian players,
Mhm.
Ejaita Ifoni, Francis Ayuba, and Osamuyi Edeyaru. So Black
Mhm.
Bulls have three Nigerians on their books, and they'll be going up against Eimba. But also, I mean, playing against Zamalek. We know Zamalek, a very good team from Egypt, and then Al Masri as well. Smith, like, how do you rate Eimba's chances in this group?
Tough. 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 I think they need to do more than what they're doing currently now. And they also have the odds against them. One, they are not playing at home. They have to play in Uyo because of the level of the Enyimba Stadium Stadium. So, and yeah, the Abba Stadium. So, I just think that that is one odd against them. And secondly, too, the level of players. I watched the African Super League final, game between Al Ahly and Zamalek. I saw how Zamalek took Al Ahly to penalties, before Al Ahly, before Zamalek even won that Super Cup. It was played was in Saudi Arabia also. So I just think that
Yes, it was played in Saudi.
Saudi Arabia. I think that Zamalek is a very very big team. They're the current champion of the CAF Confed Cup. So they also have the financial watches to buy players. I think they probably have like two Moroccan international also, in their ranks. So there's a team that they're not short of cash. So in my opinion, it's a very top group for them. So I think Zamalek will top this group. I think I think Enyimba can do well against Amasri, but and the Black Bull, But for me, and let me just mention something. The implication is also that we need a Nigerian club to go far, because if the Nigerian club did not go far, CAF will reduce our slot to two,
Our coefficient ranking
or
will
here to
drop.
two. So we're gonna have one Champions League. Now the champion of the league, we go to CAF Champions League, and the runner up not the runner up, sorry, the winner of the FA Cup will now go to the CAF Confed Cup. So all of us should look for a way to rally around Enyiba and make the national do well. And Alex, I'm just making this appeal to Alex Oti, the governor of Abia State, to try and please fix the Enyiba Stadium. Because when these guys won the CAF Champions League twice back to back, they played their home games at that stadium. So you can't compare playing away from home to play from home. So if they are playing at home, let it be at home. So for me, it's a very, very tough group. If I'm to predict, I don't see them qualifying.
Mm,
But
mm,
I just hope for the best.
mm. Very interesting to say. And for me, I look at it that in order for you to get out of the group, you have to be able to pick up some points on the road.
Hmm.
You cannot afford to not do well in your away games. We
Yes.
saw in their qualification for the tournament,
Hmm.
they were only able to play a goalless draw when they went away.
Hmm.
And I'm just hoping. I don't know why Nigerian teams. We saw Rangers against Esperanza. They won
Mm-hmm.
at home, but they went and threw it away when they went away. I don't know why teams don't seem to have that strength to be able to cope when they go abroad. But
Mm-hmm.
it is very important for Ayimba to be able to come out of this group. Even if Zamalek might prove too strong an opponent, when they play against the Black Bulls in Mozambique, they need to be able to find a way to win. When they
Mm-hmm.
play against Al Masri,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's a draw, just don't go and lose. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you only rely on your games at home, it will be difficult for you. This group, anybody can do anything, and let's even imagine you win your games at home. You never know how other people are going to perform.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get as many points as possible. And I think their away form in this tournament is going to be very key to that happening or that's not happening. But at the end of the day, they are the only Nigerian team that we have in any of these CAF continental competitions. So all of us that are watching, all of us that are supporting, all of us that are Nigerian football fans, we have to rally behind Eyimba and we have to
Mm-hmm.
support them. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, they can make us proud.
Yeah.
I don't know if they make it out of the group. I think that would be decent enough. But if they want to even shock the world, maybe they can get to semi-final self. Maybe not say
Yeah.
Nigeria still there.
And I want to make one comment too before we move on. I just think that their home game to be vital. If they could win all their three home games, they will qualify.
Mm,
Because when you have two clubs from the same country, when they have home games, they normally cancel out each other.
mm,
So for me, I think Zamalek is more a stronger team than Al Masry. So you can see Zamalek even taking those away points from Al Masry in Egypt. So if they can beat Zamalek in Uyo, beat Amasri and beat Black Bull also in Uyo, I think they will qualify.
mm. All right, all right. Wishing Aimba the best of luck. The best of luck. Okay, now let us switch gears, do a hard turn and switch to the national teams. Of course, we're going to talk about the Super Eagles in just a second. Bear with me, but let us talk very, very quickly about the Super Falcons. So Ibrahim Gusso, talking about the NFF president here, he was talking to, I guess, the public. I don't know. It was a video that the NFF released where he was talking about different things that he's
He
done in
was
his
talking
two
to
years in
himself.
charge. Different things. It was a release for the public.
Okay.
But and then he mentioned about some of the plans that the NFF has for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Let me just play the very short video, about 46-second video for you guys, and then we'll talk about that very quickly.
coach for the Super Falcons. But before that, because we are planning to see how we can utilize the FIFA window we are going to have in October to see how we can engage the team to make them fit. Basically, we want to see how we can start grooming some of our young girls from the league to see how we can find some of them that can be injected into the Super Falcons. The current coach that we put in the interim is going to invite some of our local players to have a camp with them. And then later on during the FIFA window of October, he may invite some of the old players to mix with them to see how we can bring some young talent into the team. Going to the Super Eagles coach, it's a process, but
Okay, so you heard the NFF president there talking about they want to camp the local players. And then when the window opens, I'm talking about the international window for the Super Falcons, they will bring some foreign based players to come and join the local players in camp. Um, it is a very interesting one. Another thing that I'll just say before I get into my thoughts, of course, he's talking about they want to utilize the FIFA window that is coming up in October. Because on the last episode, I was asking the question that are the Super Falcons going to play any game? Even though normally by now, less
No.
than 2 weeks, we should have known already who they are playing against and how it's going to happen. But let me just give them benefit of the doubt that they are still working on it and things will be sorted out before then. But for me, I like in theory, it's a good idea to try to involve home based players, try to groom them, try to bring the best out of them. But because of, I guess, the distrust that I already have for the NFF, Smilai, that statement put a little bit of fear in my heart. I fear that certain foreign based players that are deserving of a spot in the national team might now start missing out because from the FIFA, as well as from the NFF president, there is now a mandate to include local players in the squad. The interim coach is Madugu. We saw him even in the times where Randy Waldrum was not able to come because of his wife's health and other issues. We saw Madugu take charge and he made some questionable invites. Maybe you can say there are invites that we would like to see, the likes of Ajakaye, the likes of Oyenezide, bringing one or two players from the local league into the team. But the reality of it is that as much as we want to see those young players progress, those players are not ready. And those players tend to take the spots of more deserving players that are abroad. So now I just don't have that faith in them to be able to balance it out and to only call the players that are deserving of the opportunity. I don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry that plays in the local league because maybe they want to push the player abroad to be in the Super Falcons. Because again, like we've done in the Super Eagles, they should not water down what it means to be a Super Falcons player. The Super Falcons should be a team of the best Nigerian players in women's football wherever they are in the world. There should not be a quota for home based players. We always say the same thing with the men's national team. There should not be, oh, we must have certain number of home based players and then bring in foreign to add to it. It is nothing against the home based players. I'm not saying the home based players are not good, but call the ones that are actually able to offer something to the team. The ones that can actually help the team get better. The ones that are actually deserving of being in the team. We know that this is something that Randy Wardrum pushed against while he was the coach of the team when they tried to force him to invite certain players that he felt were not good enough or that he felt were not ready to be part of the team. And I know that that's why they are happy that his contract is over and he's going because they have somebody that is a lot easier to tell the person what to do and they'll just play ball. And it's something that the person probably even already wants to do because he's a proponent of the local league himself. But for me, I think it's a slippery slope. I'm looking forward to seeing the first call up. I want to see who they are going to leave out from the current crop of players. You know, it won't shock me if maybe you see Super Falcons team now, no Plumter or no Echegini or no Abiodun. You know, all these kind of things honestly would not shock me. And again, I'm not again because I know there are some local league warriors that like to just fight. I'm not saying the local league players are not good. I'm not saying the local league players don't deserve a chance in the national team, but I'm saying the national team has to have the best players in all positions. And if there's somebody that is abroad that is more deserving than a local league player, that person should not be left out simply because of a player from the local league. That's what I'm saying. I look forward to seeing how they implement it. Although, based on their precedents, based on the things that I've seen from them in the past, I do not have too much faith. And I fear that the work that Randy Waldrum did, the work that the players did over the past 3, 4 years, trying to build the national team, Super Falcons, to a point whereby we can go into international games and feel confident and feel like we should be scoring against Spain, we should be beating Brazil. Those kinds of things. I hope that they don't regress and they don't undo the work that has been done. Smith, like your thoughts on this?
I agree with you, and I can also see it from Ibrahim Gusso's side too of what he was trying to do. About a few weeks ago, the what's it called, Edo Queens. They actually won the Wafu B qualifier for the Women Champions League. And if you look at that team too, that team actually was quite with talent. I remember there was a girl there called Miracle Sani. Fantastic player. We know exactly what she did in that tournament. But in all honesty, too, because he was playing against Togo, this team, playing against Benin Republic team. That is not the standard of this what Super Falcons. So these girls too in local league too, they need to show it more that they're actually ready. But looking at it too in recent time, they don't really show that they're actually they are ready for this big stage. Because I remember that I don't want to mention himself, but we also have to give examples. For one girl called Shukura Sadako, She was one of the best defenders, in the league. But we saw her playing the other 20. She looked out of place. She was just clearing the ball. I don't know, she was just clearing the ball. There was no possession, pass the ball. We saw, Edo Queen's comfort for Lorenzo. Comfort for Lorenzo. She champions of Nigerian league. We saw what she did too at the under 20. Sometimes I saw her kick the air. And it nearly led to a goal against Venezuela. It's not as if I'm slagging and she's still very young. But it's just that these guys are not ready. They need to go through a phase. We saw how Sebastian Flourish, destroy the league. And when she went abroad, it was
She
something
can
different.
barely get a game.
She can barely get a game. So we need to look at what it takes to be a national team, a Super Falcons player. We don't want to water down the criteria of being a Super Falcons player. I agree with you on that. And from Ibrahim Gusso, the fear is just that if they don't address the league, if they don't give them opportunity, these guys you see now in the Queens, they go to Togo, they go Cameroon and go and play for the national team.
Mm.
Don't forget that most of these African countries, they don't have foreign based players. They depend on what? On their own best team. For example, now Ghana now, as Aqua ladies, they actually they form most of the teams. Sundance to South Africa,
Mm.
while that team, in Morocco. So, but in all honesty, Nigeria is bigger than these teams. So I just think that we should look for a way to balance it.
Mm.
I'm not I'm not trying to say that they should not invite them. They should invite them. If they merit it in camp, they should play ahead of that foreign ball. At least we were in this country when a local based player benched a foreign based player. The Kudi from 3SC benched Bayern Leverkusen's Caribe Ojigwe, remains deep. So if you see a coup that is fair enough, invite these players. If they are ready, play them. If they're not ready, please don't do that one just to fulfill righteousness. It's very
Mm.
dangerous for football.
Yeah. And another thing is that a lot of these players, I'm happy for them, but if they get one, two, three opportunities in the national team, before you know it, they've moved abroad. Maybe they've gone to
Mm-hmm.
Israel or they've gone to Turkey or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. All of a sudden, they're now foreign based. You now leave them alone and start calling other players from the local league. And like you said, I think it's a case of they don't want to disregard the league,
Mm-hmm.
but there is nowhere in the world other than Nigeria that you use your national team to develop your league. That's not how
Mm-hmm.
it works. You
Yeah.
develop the league and then you feed players into your national team, the ones that are
Mm-hmm.
deserving of it. You
Yeah.
don't try to use the national team to make it look as if, oh wow, look at all these players from our league that are making it into the national team. It should be the other way around. Is look at our league and then you bring the players into the national team. But
Mm-hmm.
we are trying to do it the opposite way. Give them better playing surfaces, give them better welfare, give them better facilities, better training, better pay, better everything. And naturally, these players will develop better
Mm-hmm.
because Nigeria, like nobody can doubt that we have talent. I
Mm-hmm.
don't doubt the fact that there's talent in the local leagues, whether male or female. But at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, this talent needs an opportunity to shine, needs an opportunity to flourish. And it should not be with national team that you try to give them an opportunity. Do it well in the league. Give them the right tools that they need to succeed in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And then take the best players from the league to the national team. But nevertheless, let's see what happens. Let's see when they're even going to announce fixtures for this month. Let's see which players they call up. It's going to be interesting, but I really hope that they don't keep on watering down what it means to be a national team player
Mm-hmm.
for Nigeria. Um, Okay, that's that on the Super Falcons. Now let us switch to the main conversation for today. Before we do that, I want to again thank everyone for engaging. I'll read the comments very quickly, but please like the video, guys. Please like the video. We have over 180 something people that have been tuning in, but only 26 likes, and I know that we can do a lot better than that. So please, please, please like the video. Please like the video. Please share on your social media platforms, share on your groups. Let's get more people engaged in the conversation. Let's get more people involved. And we really appreciate you as you do so. If you'd like to support the channel, hey, you can check out our store, Eagles Tracker Shop.com, and get your Nigerian football merchandise. You can also leave a super chat over here on YouTube. you can join to become a member of the channel. And we appreciate every way that you show your support. For those of you that are abroad, no reason for you not to buy our merch. We ship worldwide, but especially quick going to any country that's outside Nigeria. So please check it out, eaglestrackershop.com. And of course, we appreciate you as you do so. Okay, let me go to the comments very quickly before we move on to the Super Eagles. John Jones says Kazim Ogunleye should be called up for the under 20 national team. He said under 20. Amos Joseph says, honestly, Ahmed Musa's return is a good one for the pillars and the league to see Legan return home on away games, except they are traveling by Asia. Um, let's see. John Jones says, great, but he needs to retire. Let him play for the Chan Eagles. Talking about Ahmed Musa there. Um, Limelight says, greetings, Smith Layi and AyoT. Happy to be here as usual. Thank you. We're happy to have you. As usual, we're happy to have you. Fabu Chap says Musa's goals are good and bad. Like you guys said, good for Kano Pillars and the league's profile. But if Musa goes on to be top scorer, it suggests that the league is below par if he is still dominating. Okay, okay. Step Monique says, you guys always make my life happy with football, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate you tuning in. Egbo Baltimore says, we haven't had a good team in the CAF CL since Aimba dominated a few years back. Well, this year is not the CAF CL, it's the CAF CC, Confederation Cup. ESOP Studio says, for now, Nigerian clubs should stop participating for those tournaments. For now, talking about the continental tournaments. Um, let me see. Let me see. Inameka says, NFF lives in theory. The action is not there. You have 3 weeks to end the month of October. Still no action yet. Mark it. There will be no action from the NFF on Super Falcons friendly this month. So Inameka doesn't believe that they are going to be able to sort anything out. Olu says it's friendly. There's nothing wrong with seeing some fresh players, home based or foreign, but they can't leave out key players in the Super Falcons. And Adeotun is sending the signals all of you. Yes, please click the like button. It costs you $0, zero naira, £0, €0, ₹0, whatever currency. It costs you nothing to like. So please like the video, like the video, and we appreciate your support. It's been like they said, why are you shaking your head when somebody said Kazim Ogunleye should play for the under 20 team?
you know, because it's called free kick this last weekend. If you go and play for that 20, do you know how old Kazim Boulia is?
How old is he?
No, there are contradicting reports.
Oh,
So
he's 18. Based on his official age.
I think they have cancelled it out. Let me just double check again because I tried to check him for the national team too, but I don't think there was something. Nothing was actually was forthcoming. But for me, I think that a player must perform what consistently well before he can actually what's it called involve him in the national team. That is my own opinion. I think that they need to be what they need to be consistent with performance before actually what involving him in the what in national team. That's my take. He said he's 18 years old actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Let us move on. Let us move on. Let us move on. Let's talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, by now you guys must have seen it. Austin Eguavoen has announced his side that he would like to go to battle with as we face Libya in the doubleheader, the AFCON 2025 qualifying doubleheader. Um, Let me just put the team on your screen and give you guys a quick recap. And then, of course, we'll go into detail about our feelings. Of course, in goal, three goalkeepers, Maduka Okoye, Amas Obasoge, and Stanley Nwabali. No surprises there. In defense, Benjamin Tanimu, Brightosai Samuel, Bruno Oyemachi, Calvin Bassi, Olaino, Shemi Ajayi, and Captain William Troost Ekong. In midfield, we have Alex Iwobi, Alassane Yusuf, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Frank Onyeka, Rafael Onyedika, and Wilfred Indidi. And then in attack, the forwards, we have Ademola Lukman, Chidera Ejuke, Kelechi Ehanacho, Moses Simon, Samuel Chukwueze, Taiwo Awoni, and then Banga Boy, Victor, Boniface. I think in the attack, of course, the one that jumps at you is the absence of Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen unfortunately misses out due to injury. We know that he also missed Galatasaray's last two matches, so he's not fully fit yet. We're expecting to be back in action after the international break. So yeah, he's missing out.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
Okay, sorry. I just something about Kasim Ogune here. Please, I know that it's not as if I have anything against him, but he played Plateau United about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and he also played Jebu United about 6 years ago. So I'm just saying it. So
It was a teenage sensation.
no, no,
Let's
no,
be
it was.
let's
I know it was. I think he played that NNL around 12 years old.
Mm. But yeah, but let's focus on Super Eagles for now. So
Okay.
yes, and of course, I think the other one is that in defense, a lot of people wanted to see some new faces
Yeah.
potentially. But no, Eguavoen stuck with the players that were caught up the last time, except that Olisanda misses out due to an injury. And of course, Brighto Sai Samuel, who missed out on the last one due to an injury, is now in the squad. Um, so yes, Smith Live, I'll let you go first. What are your overall thoughts on this squad? How are you feeling about it? Do you think that this was a good selection of players? Not too many changes. How do you feel? You're muted.
Sorry. When you go to a war, you go with your best soldiers. You go with your best soldiers. You don't go to a war that they are shooting AK-47 and you are going there with Shakabulia, with a traditional gun. You go there with your well trusted word soldier. So for me, I think that it was placed with those that played against Rwanda and Benin Republic. That's why you see that it's following a line of word of that invitation. And you can see too that there was question in the camp, there was respect in that camp. There was, you can see the vibes in that camp last time around. So I think it's what he's trying to build on. So the only comments that they are not going to go into that about about replacing players, maybe Benjamin Tiamini also. But for me, overall it's a good team. It's a good team. No matter how you want to say it, there's no perfect list anywhere. I just think that it's a good team. At least you have like 20 players there that can play ball. So for me, overall, it's a good list.
Mm. And I will say I agree with you. A good selection. Of course, there is no team that will be called up that we wouldn't say, oh, maybe this player should have been there. Some people would obviously have who they prefer. But overall, I think it was good. Like you mentioned, he's sticking with majority of the players that he used in the last two games. Doesn't have too much time in between. It's not a friendly game or they're not friendly matches. So maybe he feels like he cannot really shake things up a little bit too much or invite players that have not been part of the setup in the past. So yeah, I was quite pleased with it. Obviously, I could have made certain changes myself, but overall, I cannot complain too much. Let's go into some of the contentious talking points, the things that people have been talking about. For example, I think one of the biggest talking points has been in defense. A lot of people feel that the call up of Benjamin Tanimu is very undeserved and unwarranted. I mean, Tanimu just moved from Ihefu SC, Singida Black Stars in Tanzania, and joined Crawley Town in the English League One. I don't know why. Maybe it is work permit issue or fitness issue, whatever the case may be. I don't know why he has not yet made his Crawley Town debut. But without playing a game for his club this season, he has earned, or well, he has been called up to the national team, and a lot of people are not happy about that. Smidlai, what do you think about Benjamin Tanimu's inclusion in this squad?
So where about him not making his debut for College, and I think it's based on the paperwork.
Mm,
So I think they have to actually was so that paperwork. I think they just completed the deal about 1 week ago when he granted when he granted that interview, about his journey and everything. So
mm,
for me, I just think that it's that Eguavoen cannot come out here and defend it, because if you really want to call a national team player, at least he should be playing football. This guy, he doesn't even have any precision with Crawley Town. A lowly Crawley Town. The last time he played was when he was in Singida FC. And about how many weeks ago, maybe about 1 month or plus ago, he has not even kicked. But he has not even kicked a ball. So I don't think Ogavon can actually would come out and defend himself. There might be something happening in the background. Why is there? For me, Tiamin does not deserve to be there. And even when he was in Super Eagles, he didn't even do well. So what's not the point of? It's not as if it's very important. For example, now if you are bringing a player that we all know that can perform well, but he's not playing well for his club, he's not playing well. We know that okay, he's there, the quality is there. But for me, Tiamin quality is not there. He's not playing. Then what is now doing? Is he coming there to clap or coming there to carry ball and help the other players? For me, I don't think Eguavoen can come out here and defend Tiamino. Honestly, for me, I think is the odd, is the odd out of that defense line. For me, he shouldn't be there.
Mm, mm. I will say I am forced to agree with you. The only explanation that I can give is that he's been part of the team before he was there, so the coach just stuck with him. But this could have been an opportunity to include somebody new. This could have been an opportunity to include a fresh face, somebody that is active, somebody that is playing well. Maybe the coach will say, "Oh, I've been watching Igor Ogbu, but unfortunately, Igor Ogbu is injured, so I cannot call him up right now." But then we still have certain players like Kevin Akpoguma, who is doing well for Hoffenheim this season and doesn't get an invitation. I don't know if they've completely given up on him. I don't know if they are still saying, "Okay, we'll call him up in the future." But it could have been an opportunity to call someone like that up. It could have been an opportunity to call somebody like Gabriel Osho, who was invited last March but missed out. Rather not last March, yeah, in March, but missed out due to injury. It could have been a chance for him to finally come and be part of the team. Whether or not he plays is pretty much what Benjamin is going there to do. Benjamin is likely not going to play unless desperate situation calls for it. So for me, was I surprised to see Benjamin Tanimo in the team? No, I was not. I know the NFF, I know the Super Eagles, but do I feel like he should have been there? No, I do not. Um, that's the one that Nigerians have been talking a lot about. And after the interview that we published today, that the NFF also published of Austin Eguavoen, I posted the clip on our social media pages. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The full video is on our YouTube page as well. You can watch the full interview on our YouTube page, where Eguavoen was essentially just talking about and looking forward to the games that are coming up. And he said that the national team is not rather is open to everybody, that they cannot shut the door on anybody. It's for all Nigerians that can play football regardless of where they are in the world. So that's maybe his reasoning for inviting a player like Benjamin Tanimu. He feels like he can do a job. He feels like he can play football. He feels like he can help the team. But from a fan's point of view, from a fan's perspective, having seen that when he played for Nigeria in the past, he wasn't impressive. He hasn't played for his club. He is playing in a very low division compared to other players, other options that we have around the world. It is hard for any coach or any media person or any fan to really justify the inclusion. But make it not be like say a person for inside person Gary. So I'm sure from Benjamin Tanimu's point of view, he's delighted to be there. He's going to get his allowance, he's going to get his camp bonus, all that stuff. And of course, for Crawley Town, now Crawley Town have two internationals in their team, joining Wallacott of Ghana, the goalkeeper, who is also a player for Crawley Town. But like I was saying when we are talking about the Super Falcons a few minutes ago, I just think we need to do away with this watering down of what it means to be a national team player. I think, we've started to reduce you know, I don't know the word to use, the vim that being a super ego, supposed to come with has been watered down so much that now it does not feel like such a big deal anymore when a player makes it into the Super Eagles, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry is making it into the Super Eagles. Very interesting one, but nevertheless, I hope that this is a question that the coach will be made to answer ahead of the game. Even though the media officer always like to say, "Oh, only ask question about the match. Don't ask about anything else." But I hope that at least one journalist is able to pose the question to the coach, and let's hear the explanation. Let's hear the defense. Let's hear the reasoning behind the selection of Benjamin Tanimu in that squad. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to add something to what you said. I just think that he's not a fan of Kevin Akpoguma because Akpoguma was left out of that 2021 AFCON despite playing nearly all the qualifiers under Genetro. So, but for me, I think the handwriting was already on the wall for Kevin Akpoguma. But for this guy too, that's actually what joining. I don't know the criteria for inviting him, but what I would just say basically is this: why was he that last time around when he was invited, he was not posted until the boy was already even in camp that is going to replace what Osai Samuel? So for me, like I say, I just think that when Eguavoen was a player in national team, the standard was very high.
Mm.
And I just think that if you look at that time too, the way Super Eagles actually was competitive, the way you have to fight for your shirt, the way you have to do extra to get into the certain level and also get a call up. You should look at those things and see that players coming in through him should be purely based on merit. So that at the end of the day, they will not just say Nigerian international, look at how he's playing. Because that guy was even telling him that he's a Nigerian international, things like that, and he has done nothing for Nigeria. I'm talking about Tiamino. So, and I want to tell people too that Tiamino was horrible when he was playing for Seginda FC. So people that are coming here, go and check him very well. He wasn't doing well for Seginda FC in Tanzanian League. At least I watched few of his game. One was against Simba. Was it Simba and Yanga? They totally destroyed him. So it wasn't impressed. I just think that the coach should come and actually explain this to us, so that at least we will not be able to bash the coach. We will also give people better explanation why Eguavoen actually is inviting him.
Mm. Very well said. Very well said. Let me just take some comments very quickly. Olu says Akpoguma was not doing well for the Super Eagles, not good for the Super Eagles, even when he was doing well at club level. Adelotun says, how could a coach leave Akpoguma over Tanimu? Victor Balogun says, selection is the only thing preventing Agbafo from being an amazing Super Eagles coach. John Jones says, Vince Osuji, Ibrahim Buhari, Fredericks, Osho, Akpoguma would have been better call-ups. Adelotun then goes on to say, are we surprised? The same team that invited Daniel Bameyi of Yom Yom FC. Real case says, Tanimu either has some powerful godfathers or he pays the fattest bribe. You're making some allegations there. Made a no come for it. And then Esoft Studio says Benjamin Tanimu is a player that will grow in the team. Football ability, he is a better defender. Hmm. Okay, okay. Um, I don't want to start replying to people's comments yet because we might not end, but everybody is entitled to their opinion, of course. In midfield, let's move on to midfield. In midfield, the usual suspects, it will be Dele Bashiru, Onyeka, Onyedika, Indidi, and I mean the only one that some people feel is somewhat contentious is Alassane Yusuf. I know people like you, like you said, oh, now that he's moving to the USA, you did not think that he was going to keep getting caught up, but he's in the team yet again. From my point of view, I have nothing against his selection. In all honesty, I think that Alassane Yusuf is a good player. Yes, we do not want him to go to the level that he did. We don't want him to go to the USA, but I don't think that him just going all of a sudden means that he's not good enough for the national team anymore. I'm still of the opinion that until we have other quality midfielders that have risen, that rise to the level, that show that they are more deserving than him, then I would have no issue with them replacing him in the team. Maybe when a Cristiano Uchi actually starts playing midfield for Getafe, we'll say yes, he should be there ahead of Alassane Yusuf. But until that midfielder shows himself and rises to that level and earns that call up, I don't think we should just rule a player out simply because we feel like the MLS is not the biggest league in the world. Um, as bad as the MLS is, it's still better than some leagues that we've called certain players from in the past. That's the honest truth. So for me, I think the midfielders are kind of what I was expecting. No shock for me there. But Smith, like, what do you think about the midfielders that were invited?
Sorry, thank you. So for me, like you already mentioned that Alassane Yusuf invitation is what I would like to talk about, but I will surprise you by not mentioning anything about Alassane Yusuf. I just think that he's a guy that will not even come and play. I think
Mm,
that it's not a competition; it's just two games. Eguavoen want to win those two games, except there is injury somewhere. That's when you can actually see Alassane Yusuf actually what coming on. For me, it's just coming there to actually what participate. I think he has to just satisfy some quarters, so that he can actually what be there. For me, you can justify that because he's playing. He left to the USA and he's playing. but someone that has not played for like 2 months being invited.
Mm,
So for me, I think that maybe the coach doesn't know who to invite again. I just think that Alassane can still do the job for Nigeria. But my only issue with Alassane is just that he's very clumsy. Sometimes with
mm,
around the area, and it's awareness too. In around the area, the box can be it's very can be costly for Nigeria. But for me, I think he's not bad.
mm. Okay, okay. Um, and very quickly, let's move on to the forwards. The forwards are listed: Ademola Lukman, Kelechi Iheanacho, Moses Simon, Samuel Chukwueze, Taiwo Awoni, Victor Boniface, and the new inclusion Chidera Ejuke. So of course, Chidera Ejuke is a player that a lot of fans, a lot of people in the media, myself included, I think Smith Layi, yourself included, we felt like it was about time that he got a recall to the national team. Yes, we know in 2021 he was a young player then, he wasn't so good, he did not make the right decisions in the attack. But based on his recent performances for Sevilla, based on his last season performances for Royal Antwerp, we felt like he has done enough to earn a recall into the national team, especially with other players not performing at the level that he was. And he has been called up into this team as a replacement for the injured Victor Osimhen. Of course, we thought maybe certain players like Kelechi Iheanacho will not be included, but Iheanacho is still in the squad. We'll talk about him in a bit. But for Chidera Ejuke, I'm happy to see him in the squad. Will he start? Probably not. It's probably still going to be Chukwueze on the right and Lukman on the left. Dare I say, in the Super Eagles, Moses Simon is even probably still ahead of him. It's probably the first option as a sub, or maybe they sub the two of them on together on each flank. But I'm happy to see him in the team. Again, I've said this before, I'll say this again. The first time I said it, when very few people knew who he was, it sounded like I was committing blasphemy. Now, more people are starting to believe me and more people are starting to side with me. I've said it that for me, Chidera Ejuke is the most exciting Nigerian footballer to watch since the legendary JJ Okocha. He is the one player that we have on our team right now that you watch him play and it makes you go, ooh, ah. He gets you off your feet. You put your hand on your head when he dribbles somebody. And I'm happy to see Ejuke in the national team again. Hopefully, he can replicate what he's been doing for Sevilla, what he did in September to be the team's best player of the month. Hopefully, he can replicate that with the national team. Hopefully, he can get maybe a goal or an assist, something to just reinvigorate his Super Eagles career and to show the fans that, hey, I'm not the player you saw 3 years ago. Stop judging me based on what you saw 3 years ago. I'm a new player now. I'm a revitalized player now. I'm a different player now. I'm a more, experienced player. I'm a grown player now, and I can offer a lot to the national team. So I'm very excited to see Chidera Ejuke in the squad. Smith, like, what are your thoughts on Ejuke's inclusion?
No, not like it's the most. If it's not actually what included, and that they would have maybe caused a riot or carry placards to actually protest against against that. But for me, he's a player that I think that you know he's now playing the top five leagues in Europe. We know that he was in Germany with Hertha Berlin. He didn't really do well there. But I think the move to Antwerp kickstart his career. He really did well in Antwerp. I think that one end his move to what? To Sevilla. So, he's doing well. If he's, when I saw the Sevilla's Facebook page and I realized how many internationals they actually want to have, two from Nigeria. So you realize that if they could be calling those players from the national teams, why is Ejuke not actually what in our own Super Eagles? So for me, I think it's a welcome inclusion. I think that he's going to do well for Nigeria. The only problem is just that the area that is going to likely likes to play. You have two players there and that really actually would establish themselves in that role. Players like Moses Simon and Ademola Lookman. So I don't know how Eguavoen would like to do that, but for me, I just think that they should look for a way to play him. He's someone that will get you off your seat, when he's playing. Very, very good player.
Mm, mm. Very well said. Very, very good player. Let's also talk about Kelechi Iheanacho, Chidera Ejuke's Sevilla teammate. A lot of people feel like Iheanacho has not deserved or merited this call up. Of course, since last season, pretty much, Iheanacho has been off form. Not really contributing to Leicester City. Left as a free agent, signed for Sevilla. Also, this season, he's yet to contribute anything meaningful. Forget goals or assists. I'm even talking about just putting in a good performance, helping the team. He's yet to do that for Sevilla. But Eguavoen has still decided to opt and stick with the experience of Kelechi Iheanacho over some options like Cyril Dessers, who has also been in Super Eagles in the past. Smith, like, are you for or against the inclusion of Kelechi Iheanacho in this squad?
For me, when Victor Osimhen pulled out of that team after that nasty injury against Kasim Pasa in the Turkish Super League, I just think that we look for a player like actually what has been in the team before. That's the reason why I can excuse him for inviting Kelechi Iheanacho. But if Osimhen is in this team, I don't think Kelechi have any business being in this team. Well, as you rightly said, when Leicester was playing the championship, Kelechi did not perform well. If you remember, Kelechi did not play any game for Nigeria in the AFCON until the semi-finals when the Sarka was even tired. And he also scored winning penalty as if winning penalty is a penalty, but I think as if he was the man of the match. He was celebrating the whole thing. So I just think that the form is not, it's actually what it's dwindling. Its form is actually dwindling. I think that it needs to buckle up. I won't fault the guy for including him because there's no Victor Osimhen. Because if you look at the strikers we have too, you cannot say you want to bring Desas in again. Desas is a very good player, but well, we are not playing a friendly game. So you need to look for players that you have tried, you've tested and trusted. So maybe Iheanacho can come and give him 10 minutes or so, or 5 minutes, which he might not trust Desas. Maybe Arokodare will be playing. Arokodare has never played for the national team. I think he played under 17, but since then. So if you are trying to bring Arokodare, I don't think he's similar than Iheanacho, with all the due respect. I think that the even this as we're talking about, if Nacho is playing in the Turkey Scottish League, do you know how many goals he will be on now? He's playing for Saint Mirren or maybe maybe Aberdeen. We don't know how many goals you think he should be scoring. So sometimes these coaches too look at it that way that let's just try him since I've been with us before and let's just see and his experience in this type of situation.
Mm. And I will agree with you. I think the only explanation really is someone that has been in the team before, somebody that is experienced, rather than going for a fresh face. Um, Ian Achor, we know is not performing well, but I think I said it last week on the pod that once Osimhen got injured, I knew that it was going to be Ejuke coming in and Ian Achor staying in the team. I'm not too surprised. We'll talk about the players that certain people feel should have been included, but you know, I'm not surprised that the coach did not replace Ehenacho with any of the new faces, new names, or even a Cyril Dessers has been there before. While I don't think that he's necessarily doing a lot to hold that shirt, I'm not surprised. Let's also talk about Taiwo Awoni. Similar player that has been in these conversations. People have been saying, "Oh, Awoni is on the bench for his club. He shouldn't be in the national team." Things like that. But he's in the team yet again. I'll go first on this one. I think Awoni is even in a better situation than Kelechi Iheanacho, or maybe it's a bit nuanced. It's a bit different because Iheanacho has the fact that he has been in the national team for longer over Awoni. But Awoni has the fact that he has been good more recently than Kelechi Iheanacho. Of course, Awoni has not really been playing a lot for Nottingham Forest because Chris Wood is in good form. Hey, we have to give him that. But there are just not that many options. There is no Nigerian striker that you look at that is lighting it out of the park in the top leagues that is not already in the squad. Um, that you say you replace him with, and the other replacement options would have been new names or Cyril Dessers. And again, when I compare it, I just look at the fact that those new names, would I pick them over Taiwo? Maybe not. Cyril Dessers, would I pick him over Taiwo? Maybe not. I understand a lot of people are really concerned about form, but I always say for me, we cannot just call up every player that has a purple patch. Yes, players should be picked based on form, but I think consistency, not just one run of form. You scored a spurt of goals, and all of a sudden you're in the Super Eagles. Then when those goals dry up, what happens? We call the next person that scores a spurt of goals. Um, but yes, I'll talk about individual players that could or people think should have been called up shortly. But Smith, like your thoughts on Awoni's inclusion in this team?
Like you actually what I agree with you about what you actually what mentioned. There's no Victor Osimhen there in the team. There's no, it's going to be very hard for you to pick a striker. Who do you think can Awoni can actually can bench Awoni out of the guys that we mentioned? With due respect, I told you earlier that if Awoni is playing in Scotland, do you think will not be playing for any of those teams? You know, with due respect, any team in Scotland is not Premier League team. They're like mid-table what championship as confirmed by you from AyoT. So in my own scenario, I think he has to call him. It's just that it's been unfortunate with the Chris, with the injury. In all honesty too, because it was doing well before the injury, and if you remember
Yeah.
too, his start wasn't that bad in his last two games for Nigeria. His last starts, two starts for Nigeria, he scored one goal in his last two starts for Nigeria, and I don't think I only has actually completed any game for Nigeria. He's always
Mm,
sobbing and everything. So, he's a guy that I think Eguavoen likes him. I think he trusts him. I think that he can come and actually will deliver. I don't see any player, that we say that we didn't call up now ahead of him now in that position, with all honesty.
mm. Okay. Let's talk quickly. So I can see a lot of comments, and I'll bring you guys on shortly. My challenge to everybody that is leaving comments today: please call into the show. Let's see your face. Let's hear your voice. Let's hear your opinion. A lot of people always fight in the comments, but they don't like to come on. Let's talk. Let's talk. Um, so I'm going to post the link now so that people can start calling in. And then we'll just take some comments, take some points, and then of course we'll hear what you guys have to say about the team. But yes, let me just say on Taiwa Wuni, I find it a bit interesting how people talk about Awoni's time in the Super Eagles. I find it very interesting. I feel like a lot of people judge harshly. The guy, people say, oh, he doesn't do well for Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. He has played 8 games, man, for Nigeria. 4 out of 8, or I think 5 out of 8, that he has actually played more than 45 minutes. But he's averaging 45 minutes per game for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The game he played 82 minutes against Sudan, he scored 1 goal. The game he played 64 minutes against Sao Tome and Principe, he scored 1 goal. Against Rwanda, he played 1 minute, but it counts to on his stats that he played a game, so it makes the stats slightly worse. The game against Sierra Leone, he played 9 minutes, but it counts. He played, so he adds to his stats. Against Algeria, he played 18 minutes, but he played, so it counts on his stats. So when people simply use the stats against CAR, he played 45 minutes, it counts on his stats. So when people simply use the stats and say, oh, he has not scored that many goals, I always ask the question that, like, honestly, like, true to God, forget that it's Awoni. If it's any player, if a player plays 8 games and scores 2 goals for the national team while averaging 45 minutes per game, is it necessarily a bad return? I genuinely am not sure if that's a bad return. So when people say, "Oh, he doesn't do it for the national team," I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me. Now, if you're talking about his current form for club, that's a whole different conversation, and I can understand. I can say, okay, fair enough. You don't think he's playing for his club, so he should be there. Fine. But when people talk about his performance overall in the national team, I don't know. It just feels a bit unfair to me that we're judging players that harshly. In the past, we've referenced player like Lukman that took him a while, about 8 matches as well, for Lukman to get his first goal for the Super Eagles. If you're not playing that many minutes, it's not everybody that will just come off the bench and score a goal on their debut and say, wow, it takes players need games, need minutes, not 1 minute here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes here. Especially when you're coming into a national team, playing for a team like Nigeria, where the jersey is heavy. I've spoken to many different Nigerian players and they always say like the jersey is heavy. The jersey is heavy. But yeah, just quickly to take comments. Olu says Alassane Yusuf has not performed badly for the Super Eagles, on point. Egbo Baltimore says Omobodo should have been called up. It's better than Yusuf. I will slightly disagree on this one. Of course, sample size of Yusuf in America is too little to really compare him to Obodo yet. But in the games that Yusuf has played, he has pretty much been on Obodo's level in the MLS so far this season. So I will slightly disagree with you on that one. My place says I will call Aribo over Yusuf. This argument I can hear it and I can understand it. Aribo is more of a forward-minded midfielder, whereas Yusuf is a defensive-minded midfielder. We already have Onyeka, Ndidi, Onyedika, defensive-minded players in the midfield. So I hear this argument. If they called Aribo over Yusuf, I don't think I would have complained at all. So my space plays, you have a good point um on that one. Ada J3 says Chukwueze is way off form. Ejuke was going to make the squad regardless. Kelechi is the one who replaced Osimhen. Well, I understand what you're saying, but replacement, Kelechi was in the last squad, so you cannot really say he's the one that replaced Osimhen. You know, Ejuke is the one that is coming into the team. But I understand what you're saying. John says Ejuke hopefully has now understood when to pass the ball. Sometimes it's not dribbling every piece of grass. Like I said, stop judging a player based on 2021. Watch players play for their clubs, follow them. Ejuke has changed a lot from the player that he was in 2021. There's a reason why he's shining in the La Liga right now. It's not just because he's dribbling, he's actually contributing, creating chances for his side. So Ejuke is a much different player than he used to be. Um, let me see. Let me see. Oluyimide says Eguavoen, whoever that selected the players is unfair to some Nigerian players who are playing regularly in their respective clubs. Players like Awoni, Tanemo, and Kelechi shouldn't have been called. John Jones says, why wasn't George Lenikena called up? I wasn't really expecting him to be called up, but again, if it was only to capture him, hey, I would have been down with it. John also makes a very ignorant comment saying Dessa should have been in this team, but they don't want to call him up due to color. I think this is a very silly comment to make. It's just a stupid agenda that you're trying to push. It has nothing to do with color. It has absolutely nothing to do with color. Like, um, Olusegun says Smith Layi adds humor to everything. Good job, cracks me up every damn time. Yeah, the resident comedian. Um, Olusegun says, wonder what Chubo Akwam has to do to get called up. So I'll say very quickly on this Akwam one. I don't think Akwam should or could have been called up for this squad. When Akwam deserved his call up, he didn't get it when he was firing for Middlesbrough before he joined Ajax. But right now, based on what he's doing for Ajax, it's hard to say that Akwam should be in the squad. I agree that he deserved it in the past and he didn't get it then. But I don't think Akwam can make the team at the current moment with the other players that we have that are performing. Victor Balogun says Yiraso or Giftoban could have been a good call too. I disagree with this. Neither of those players deserves to be in the team right now. Orban is barely doing anything for Lyon. Yiraso had a spurt of matches and went quiet after that. Doesn't deserve a call up yet. Again, we cannot call every player that has a good spurt of matches. Oh, you played 5 games, you got 3 goals, 1 assist. Boom, all of a sudden, Super Eagles call up. And then the season has 30 more games to go. You don't do anything. But because of those 5 games, you get into the Super Eagles. I would disagree with that. But everybody might have their own different opinion on that. Let me see. Let me see which other comments are there to take. Overmax says love from GRG TV. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Victor Balogun says I will call Aribo over Fisayo yourself. That one I disagree with. Aribo over Fisayo, not at this current moment. Um, Kelechi is also out of form. I believe Desas deserves to be in the team. You know, I understand that. I'm not going to argue against that. It's just that Desas playing in Scotland doesn't excite everybody, but I understand where you're coming from with his form, or the form of both players. I can understand you wanting Desas there ahead of Kelechi. Let me see. Okay. Step Monique says HUK is the new JJ. That's big, big, big talk. But yes, let us hear what our guests have to say. Hopefully we have some interesting contributions. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 people waiting and some more might call in. But first on the list today was Humble Henry. Humble Henry, welcome.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Good evening, AyoT. Good evening, Smith Layi. Yeah, today I love today's conversation, which is very, very good. But there's a way I always think. Um, Anything that concerns selection of players,
Mm.
I don't have problem with players. I have problem with the coach, not the players. Why did I say so? People may disagree with me. Call this person because of the kind of game the person plays in his club. But you forget that the way they play in the club side, they have good coach. Do you have a good coach that will manage them in the Super Eagles? Even if you call the best, can Austin Eguavoen manage those players? For example, the way Victor Boniface is playing in Bayer Leverkusen with a good coach, and the way he's playing with Eguavoen, you begin to ask a question. The way Lukman is playing in Super Eagles and the way he's playing in his club, people begins to ask a question. The way, who else should I pick right now? Ndidi is playing in Leicester, and the way he's playing in Super Eagles, you begins to ask a question. Everybody wants to bring the best, bring the best. Yes, bring the best. But the best coming, who is going to manage them? Is it the best coach? It becomes a problem. If something happens now or we drew 1-1, everybody will blame the players. I will not blame the players. I will blame Eguavoen because he is not what? At top to cover those players. Those players are professionals with top professional coaches. Is he a professional? That is what we're supposed to be looking at. Everybody, bring this person, bring Desert. We have seen what Desert have done. The way he's playing in his club is different from the way he's playing in Super Eagles. We have seen his pass. Now, what if tomorrow now, Ejuke makes up? Everybody will be angry. Now, everybody is now saying, Awoni is not informed. What if tomorrow now he scored 2 goals now? The same people that are saying it's not informed will begin to praise him. What happens to Teller? So for me, yes, I love the way you do this. For me, please, how I wish that after the game, we need to come back to evaluate what happened. After the game, because the coach needs to be examined. We need a top coach. Can Eguavoen manage these players? Our players are top form. Can he take the tactics? Libya, they are not on our side. We are bigger than them. We have good players competing. To be honest, I was arguing with somebody. I told the person, assuming that Alaina waited, he would have made England team. Go and check now. Check the game against Chelsea. Check the game against Liverpool. But if tomorrow now I now make a mistake, now everybody will be blaming him. No. The way they play in their club side is totally different the way they are playing in the national team because we don't have coach. We don't have. They don't want to upgrade themselves. They are still in the archaic world. They are still using is it analog this thing? They don't want to go into modern. I wish them all the best because nobody should come and attack any players. You have to look at the kind of coach you have. Can they manage those players? If they can, I wish them all the best. That's my own contribution. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you very much, Humble Henry. Good to
Yeah.
hear from you as always. Okay. That's Humble Henry's contribution. Adnan, are you ready to go, or should I bring on Adidotun?
I have my oh. How do I flip this?
Yes, we need to see your face, not your
I
surrounding.
here, so I'm gonna try to. Okay.
Yes, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I always see your comments. Thank you for
Yeah,
showing us your face and your voice today. So yes,
yeah,
your thoughts on the conversation.
yeah. Thanks for having me on. I always worry about Nigeria's midfield, because we always use like produce a lot of strikers, but it seems like there's not much competition in the midfield. There's not like a variety of players in terms of roles. Like they seem to be. We have a few defensive midfielders, but not a lot of like creative attacking midfielders. I know in today's game you could get a lot of creativity from the wings with players like Ejuke, who just got called up, I always wonder how come we produce so many strikers but not midfielders. But as for the list itself, I would say I don't think it's a good precedent to call up Kalechi after he has done nothing so far in the season, like contribution wise.
Mm,
Especially, it's not like he's been hurt, but he's been fully fit, and this is the second season in a row that he's not performing well. So you could say that players are playing in Scotland, but when he was in the championship, he wasn't playing well either. So it's not. I guess it's not just about the league.
mm.
And another thing I wanted to say was, don't you think it's worrying that Nigeria hasn't found a new manager yet? That they still have an interim with World Cup qualifying coming up in March. At this point, if they haven't found a long term solution, do you think they might as well keep a good one, or do you think they'll find somebody else within that time frame
Mm.
with
Okay.
the situation going on with World Cup qualifying?
Mm. Okay, I'll just respond to your comment on the midfielders. So for
Mhm.
me, I mean, I'm giving my opinion here. I don't have any facts,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think the main reason why we find it hard to develop many midfielders is
Hmm.
the style of play and the development at the grassroots level in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The skillful, the the goal scorers are the ones that flourish the most
Hmm.
worldwide. To be fair,
Yeah.
so when a lot of players are developing in Nigeria, they don't really teach them on the technical attributes that you need to be a successful midfield player.
Hmm.
A lot of people just want to be fast, want to be strong, want to know how to shoot.
Yeah.
And then we get so many goal scoring players, so many forwards. Even a lot of the players that play in midfield or in defense now,
Yeah.
some of them started as forwards. And then they had to say, like, bro, if you don't have the quality, you need to
Yeah.
move a bit further back on the field. So I think the way we just teach players in Nigeria does not allow our midfield players to come out like that. Um, so that's just my own feeling on the whole situation. Of course, I've never I didn't train as a footballer in
Right.
Nigeria, but that's what I feel. Sometimes you want to add something to that?
And that's something that we used to produce good midfielders before,
Hmm.
but the demand for midfield now is changing.
Yeah.
For you to succeed in the very highest level now is changing. If you remember, we used to have, the Mikel Obis, the
Yeah.
these are good players there. But now the demand for that position is changing. Even you can see that there's no really number 10 anymore. There's number 10 again, it's fading. So it's not
Yeah.
like a deep life playmaker. What they expect from you is different. Even for example, now that we have, it wasn't a midfielder, it was a defender when he started his career on the day.
Yeah.
So it was just converted to a midfield. So, it's just the demand that is changing. I think, just like IoT said, has to do with what? With grassroots. If you
Mm,
check our age grade too, you will not see any good midfielder even
Hmm.
coming up. Age grade. I'm talking about age grade. So it's just something that we need to address. And I agree with IoT too that it's a grassroots thing. So
It's
And
I just
true.
hope.
and I said I'll just add on that and say at the end of the day, a lot of academies that are developing players now they want to sell players to the abroad.
Striker.
And the reality of it is that I've worked with clubs that are looking for African or Nigerian players. 90% of the information that I get from these clubs, we are looking for a strong and fast forward. When they come to Africa, that's what they want. Strong and fast forward. They don't come to Africa looking for midfielders. They don't come
Mm.
to Africa looking for defenders most of the time. They want a strong and fast forward.
It's
So I
like a
think
fulfilling prophecy. So if you think we can only play striker, then we only play striker. But I
yeah.
remember the Ivory Coast golden generation. a lot of them came from the same academy. So maybe you're right about the grassroots thing. It has to
Yeah.
be more development
Yeah.
from the
And
youth level.
yeah, and also too, I saw, one man who I spoke to, his son played for one of the European teams. He said that in the academy that he works with, when they're coming to Africa, they go to Mali to get midfielders.
Mm.
They go to Africa to get midfielders. They know what they want to get there. They go to Ghana, Nigeria area to get what? Wingers and forwards. Can you see? So they know exactly where to get something. So it's just that that they know that's our strength,
Yeah.
and that's what we keep producing. That's it.
So, like, I'll let you answer the question on the Super Eagles coach. Are they planning to hire somebody, or
No,
is Eguavoen going to continue?
I don't know when Ada has been following us. I said this thing earlier that they are just playing a waiting game.
Yeah.
They are waiting for Eguavoen to lose.
Mm.
That is it.
You think?
So, for
So,
example, now, God forbid,
if Eguavoen keeps winning, they are going
if you
to
don't
stick
keep
with him.
winning, he's going to keep on being interim.
Mm.
But if he lose a game, they go and get anyone again. That's
Wow.
it.
What
No, there's no plan.
what a strategy!
What's
No
the plan?
plan. No plan. If you want to keep winning or drawing to save his job, that's why you can see people trying to praise the draw against Rwanda as if it's the best thing as after sliced bread. But so they just want to keep their job. He too knows that he needs to keep his job. If he lose this game against Libya now, I can tell you next week we'll be talking about another Labadia coming again. So it's it's a thing. Yeah, that's it.
The situation with Bruno Labbadia was weird because I saw him post a Nigerian flag on his
No,
Instagram.
no, 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 no. That is Lamba, not Labadia.
Okay. Because I was like, you are making a U-turn already.
No, that is just one acre of faceless. It's not the real Labadia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adnan. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right. That's Adnan Ada J3. Okay. Next guest, we have a regular on the program, a friend of the house, Mr. Adedotun. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Smith Layi, how you doing? Like, I came to say something because I sound like a broken record. Like I all said, there can never be a perfect list, but sometimes we can make the list a little bit perfect. You know, I came because of what I had credited to the coach Eguavoen that national the Super is open to anybody wherever they are playing. Is he saying that it's also open to people that are playing in Bangladesh, or people that are playing in Mongolia, or people that are playing in Malaysia? When he was in the national team, when he was playing for Super Eagles, was that how players were paid? See, our people should please think before they say before they say. They should think before they talk. How could you say Super Eagles open to anybody? Well, I'm not surprised when we had Ibama Yoyom MC be invited to Super Eagles. We have been saying it. Super Eagles is the pinnacle of our football. There should be a criteria for players to get into Super Eagles. There should be. We should not be liking ourselves to countries like Madagascar or what do you call it or Equatorial Guinea. You should like ourselves to countries like Brazil. It's been like even when Elder was playing well for FC Porto, he could not get into Brazil national team. We had a lot of good players that couldn't get to national team of Brazil. The first time a player in the Premiership will go to work for Brazil was 2002, Gilberto Silva. Before 2002, Brazil will never invite anybody playing in Premiership. That's criteria they say for himself. Now, when we talk, they say, let me tell you, the first time Talimu was invited, they said, oh, home based benefit insurance. And as I then asked me, like, he had played 3 matches for EFU. Why can't they just come out and open up to us? So that played 3 matches for AFCON in Tanzania. But when he was invited, they said it was home-based player. I love Amas Obasoge, but now Amas have moved to Ethiopia. Invariably, now then we should not talk about our league. If you are saying a goalkeeper in Ethiopia is better than all the goalkeepers in our league, then we should stop talking about the MPFL. Somebody left Ihefu to Singapore. That see, I follow Tanzania league very well. If you are good, they will move you to either Simba or Yanga. He moved from Ihefu to Singida, and now he just moved to Crawley Town. He has never even been listed. Definitely, the boy that moved from a shooting star to Iraq too should be invited. If you are saying that anybody can from anywhere, no matter where they are playing, they can come and play for Super Eagles. He knew how he got to the team. He was a very good defender. And when he entered Super Eagles, the coach, he was a very good player. Now he got to Super Eagles on merit. Now you are not saying, oh, players that can come the way they like. They like. You just play based on merit. I'm not saying these guys are not good. Please, if we are good enough, even I'm sorry, a lot of people like Olisarinda. I love Olisarinda, but if Olisarinda is that good, it shouldn't be still. It shouldn't be in South Africa for how many years? You should have moved. Agawa was in Esperance. He moved. America was in Samalek. He moved. We have players that started in African League, but they moved. Even the Yakini was in African Sports, Oklahoma. They all moved. That's what I'm talking about. If you are good, you move. What's wrong with us? The coach has said that, oh,
Sorry,
everybody can come and play, no matter where they are playing.
Sorry, don't go too far. If he's that good, Sundance will look for a way to get him.
Exactly. Not the way people, not Orlando Pirates that they are beaten anyhow. What I'm saying is, we should set a standard for Super Eagles. The same way they set a standard for you to get to every medical school. Let there be a standard. So that by what standard, if a player is playing well the PFL and is a member of the Super Eagles, if he moves to a bad league, then you stop inviting him. I love Alassane Yusuf, but because of what you said that maybe until we get a good midfielder, bro, I live in the States. Even Americans are leaving their league to go and play in Europe. This is not basketball. This is not basketball. They are leaving American league to go and play in Europe. They were saying the coach should please invite players. See, Eguavoen would have been a very good coach if he was on his list. If he was on his list. That's one of the things that even work against him. Apart from the fact that he doesn't have a plan B, that's what's working against him. We should please stop this. I said it tomorrow. When we see Fargo, when we see Mohamed Fargo, we shouldn't be surprised. When we see players from Mongolia, we shouldn't be surprised. Please, 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 we should do better. Don't bring players from lowly league to our national team. Bring players. People have been saying about Awoni. Awoni plays in Premiership. Chris Wood has been doing well. He has scored 4 goals. Even a good coach will never bench a player that has scored 4 goals for a player that just coming that not scored. They were saying, please, he can do better. He can do better. The only issues I have with that list, Tianimu and Hamas. Before the last match, I never had any issue about Hamas. But now that I moved to Ethiopia, I have issue with him. My own is you must be playing a very good league. A very good league. If Hamas had moved to TP Mazembe, I swear God Almighty, I also love it. I won't say anything. But Ethiopian club, damn, that's the wrong move. Thank you, AyoT, for having me. You are
All right.
muted.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adidotun. lots of things that you've said there, but we always appreciate your contribution. Okay. I want to before we go, I want to just talk about certain players that were touted by people to potentially get called up. The likes of Tolu Akodare, the likes of Crisantos Uche, the likes of Cyril Dessas, etc. Um, so when I was saying earlier about I don't think we should call up any player that just has a purple patch. Somebody was saying, oh, so Ejuke can get in with one goal, but Uraso can get in with 4 goals and 1 assist. And I think, see, statistics are great. I look at statistics every single day when I'm thinking of Nigerian football players and when I'm talking about Nigerian football players. But we also need to be cognizant of the fact that statistics don't show you everything. Ejuke's performance this season, if you want to judge him solely based on statistics, goals and assists, then it's not that exciting. But if you look into the in depth statistics, or you actually use your eyes, just use your 2 eyes, or one eye if you have only one, and watch the game, you would understand why Ejuke is included in this national team. You would know that he's been playing very well. I've been watching Sevilla a lot. Luke Bacchio has been wasting his chances. If Luke Bacchio was scoring, he would have more assists by now. He's had a few opportunities to score, goals chalked off for offside, little things here and there. But overall, the guy is playing very, very well. You want to compare him to a player like Iraso. I like Iraso. I've interviewed him before. Nice young player with huge potential, with huge goals and dreams for himself. But again, if you solely look at the stats and you want to tell me, oh, Iraso has 4 assists and 1 goal, look at the 4 assists and 1 goal came in a span of 4 matches. The rest of the matches, he was essentially a passenger. It's like, for example, somebody can score a hat trick today and then ghost for the next 5 matches, score 2 more. You say, oh, the person has 5 goals. But how consistent, how consistent is that player? How are their performances living up? That's the question a lot of people forget to ask. So for me, I understand using goals and assists to judge players, but it cannot be the only metric that you use to judge players because there's a lot more that happens on the field that's not just about goals and assists. With Crisantos Uche, I've said this before, people might agree, people might disagree with me, but Crisantos Uche is playing as a forward for Getafe. If you want him to get into the Super Eagles team as a forward, it is impossible. He is not better than any of the strikers we called up, including Ehanacho. He is not a better striker. That's the reality. He is not a better winger than the wingers that we called up. So maybe when he starts playing as a midfielder and he keeps up the level of performance, his time will come and he can get into the squad. But for now, as a forward, it is just not possible for him to get into the team. It does not mean he's a good player, or that he's not a good player. It does not mean that he's not going to play for the Super Eagles eventually. But based on what we are seeing, he just can't get into the squad. With Tolu Arokudare, yes, Arokudare has been on fire to start this season. But again, I'm not even going to take into consideration the level of his league. I'm just going to take into consideration the span of time that he has been doing it. Arokudare has scored 6 goals in 10 league matches this season. A good start. But in the past 4 matches is 1 goal. In the past 5 matches is 2 goals. He had a hot start to the season where he scored in 3 consecutive matches. But then now, the slope, the curve is kind of coming down. I'm not saying he won't have a good season. I'm not saying he won't score more goals. But again, if we call any player simply because they have a purple patch, oh, this player scored 5 in 5, call them up to the Super Eagles. We like that doesn't mean that the player is better than who we already have because you think the person is not performing well. That doesn't mean that the player is going to improve the team. Because if that's the case, call Otubanjo. If that's the case, call Geoffrey Chinedu. There are a lot of Nigerian players that are scoring spurts of goals. So that's just not enough. It's not a knock on Arukudari. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying he won't play Super Eagles in the future. But let him continue like this. If he can continue consistently like this, and by March, we're talking about him, there will be a stronger case. But simply because in the first 5 matches of the season he scored 4 goals, that's not what we should use to call him up. I don't agree with that. My own opinion. You might disagree with me. That's completely fine. A player like Victor Olatunji, I like Victor. Nice young player. But again, that's just Nigerians getting excited by the shiny new player that they've just heard of. I've been following Victor's career for years since he was in AAK Lanaka. He scored a goal in the Champions League. The goal got publicity. He also got an assist in that game. All of a sudden, why is he not in the Super Eagles? Even if you look at his goals and assist statistics, what does he have? 2 goals, 1 assist. If you include Champions League qualifiers, it's 3 goals and 1 assist in about 12, 13 matches this season. But you want to knock other players that have similar stats. But because he scored in the Champions League and you heard about it, oh, call him up. It's just not enough. I'm not trying to knock him down. I'm not trying to talk bad about him. It's simply not enough. People talk about George Lenikena. Again, I've said it. If they want to call George Lenikena just to cap tie him, hey, I don't fault it. Eleni Kena is a nice, bright young talent that has huge potential for the future. What he's doing at 18, our other strikers, even Osimhen, was not this good at 18. But if you are saying call Eleni Kena based on his play, based on his contribution, based on his effectiveness, based on his statistics, those things don't argue in his favor. What does Eleni Kena have? He scored 1 goal against Barcelona. He has not scored another goal this season. He got an assist against Le Havre. He has not got another assist this season. 1 goal, 1 assist in about 8 games or 9 games this season. If that was Awoni, if that was Boniface, if that was Kelechi, would you be fighting for the person to get called up? Again, don't get too excited by the shiny new thing. He's a young player. He's a bright talent. I agree. I want him to play for Nigeria in the future. The only thing that they could have used to call him up now is maybe just capture this guy. May no go ball too much. Say France go call him. So I just encourage people to have perspective. Just have perspective. Not everybody would just make the team because they had a purple patch of form. A lot of people would have patches of form. It's about that consistency. It's about that consistency. If you are not fighting for a player like Akko Adams to get into the national team, then how can you be fighting for an Orukudari? How can you be fighting for an Eleni Kena? How can you be fighting for a Chrysantos? Because Akko has had very good patches of form as well. But like we saw last season, he wasn't able to be consistent for the whole season. And we are hoping that he can do that this year. So it's not just about patches of form. It's about a player can play well consistently for it doesn't have to even be a whole season, but for a decent period of time. Somebody says, how about Otubajo, who has been consistent but never called up? The simple truth about Otubajo is just the level that he's playing at. He is not playing at a high enough level for him to really be seriously considered, especially when you consider the other striker options that we have. He's playing in Armenia. The NFF are just never going to take him that seriously playing in Armenia. That's the reality. Just being very straightforward. They are never going to take him that seriously. That's what's holding him back. If Otubanjo was doing it in even a Belgium, he'll probably have had a better shout. Look at Arukudare, one season, 10 games in Belgium that he scored 6 goals. All of a sudden, people are shouting about him. But Otubanjo is doing it in Armenia. So they're not really going to take him seriously, unfortunately for him. So that's just it. I understand that Nigerian fans get excited when they hear about a new player. But believe me, not every new player that you hear about that scores 3 in 5 or that scores 5 in 10 is deserving of a Super Eagles call up. Let them do it for a more consistent period of time. Let them do it at a high enough level. And then I would even be the one coming here to argue for them because I watch these players so closely. I always say it with all the humility in the world. I don't know anybody else that watches and follows as many Nigerian players as closely as I do. If you know somebody, hey, tell me about the person. I'd like to link up with the person. So when I say these things, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I cannot be wrong, but you can check the track record. I'm right most of the time. When I've said certain players don't deserve to be called up and they were called up, we've seen how it went. Some of them are even facing jail time, with all due respect to everybody. And when I've said certain players should be called up and they eventually get called up, or people start to watch them more, we see how good they are. So that's what I'll say on that. Not everybody should get caught up simply because they have a purple patch or form or because they score a goal in the Champions League. All of a sudden, we're shouting about them. Chuba Akpom, sorry, because somebody's asking. Chuba Akpom, I said this earlier. When Akpom actually deserved his call up, he did not get called up. At that time, I was on record saying that he should have been called up. But as of now, when you compare him to the other options that we have, he is not deserving of the call up. It does not mean that he won't deserve it again later, but as of now, Akpom cannot get caught up ahead of the players that we have. If anybody, Josh Maja is the one that has a shout because he's doing well. You might say it's the championship, but the championship is tougher than many leagues. Championship is tougher than Scotland. That's the reality, and people are fighting for desserts. The Champions League is still tougher than Scotland. I've spoken to players that played in the Scottish Prem. Rangers, if they enter the championship, they will be like seventh or eighth in the league. So if anybody, you should be fighting for Josh Maja. That's who you should be fighting for. But yeah, we've spoken about Akpoguma already. I won't get into that again. Torunariga, you know, got caught up in the past. I don't know why they don't want to change defenders, but I think Torunariga is another player that can get his chance. If we're calling players from Crawley Town, if we're calling players from, Orlando Pirates, there's no reason why we can't call a player from Car Agent. That's just my own opinion about it, So I wouldn't fault them if they call Torunariga. I cannot say why they're not calling him. But yeah, let me take two more callers and then we'll call it a night. Two more callers, we'll call it a night.
I think we already spent 2 hours.
Yes, so two more callers very quickly. I don't think Tokpa is usually straight to the point. And then Donald, if you put on your camera, I'll bring you on. If you don't put on your camera, I won't bring you on. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Yes, Tim Tokpa, what are your thoughts?
Hello guys, good evening. Good day.
Yeah, good
Are
evening.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
I want to ask you a question. Ayo, one question for you. On current form, Kelechi Iheanacho and Christian Taushe, who is the better player? On current form.
Again, honest truth to
Kelechi
God,
Iheanacho
Kelechi
and
so the
Christian
reality, see, the
Taushe,
reality
who is
is
the
the
better
reality
player?
of,
On current form.
see, let me answer. The reality of it is that you every day of the week to play striker, I will choose Iheanacho over Uche every
Okay?
day of the week. If
Okay.
Uche was playing in midfield, is a different conversation entirely. But as striker, you give two players a chance to score, I will pick Iheanacho every day of the week. And I know
Okay.
that
Okay.
Iheanacho is struggling right now.
Okay. Let me make my point now. For me, I like to already hard work in the sport. Now, for the past 6 games, I'm watching Iheanacho play for Utebia. He has given nothing to Sevilla club. I'm watching match. I've seen Ako play for Montpellier in France. He played very well. I've seen Judgment that play for West play very well. I've seen the guy play for Opham. I think play very well. How can they work at work? Not keep going plan. What of tell me offer that Super Eagles coach? Tell me. For me, that's why I'm a foreign coach. And when I start that big player on merit. Fine. You don't play for any match, you know. But get player that play good football right now. Look at that keeper. Who am I mean to watch Sudanese league? Do you watch Sudanese league? But you got play for Sudan. Why? So for me, you are right, but from personal, I think our Nigerian coaches, tend to learn. People are merit. When he was playing for Chelsea, they pick him now. When he got playing for Chelsea now, finally they picked him, not before they play for Chelsea. But now look at Nigerian school. Look at that. Look at when he's not playing for a club. How do you pick him? Get to another player. That's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Mm. All right, thank you, Temitope. Straight to the point. I like that. And I understand. The one that I cannot have any arguments for. I like Benjamin Tanimu as a human being, but I cannot explain to anybody why he got called up. Somebody said earlier that maybe it's to fulfill his work permit requirement so that he can get his work permit in England. I don't know. That one I have no argument other than the coach knows him already. That's the only thing I can use to explain it. So that one I cannot say anything about Tanimu. Um, but with the Air Natural Uche one, the truth is Uche is not a striker, man. I've watched him play. He works hard. He helps support his team, but whenever he gets a chance, he doesn't usually take the chance. So while Air Natural is struggling, though, if you put a gun to my head and say who is going to finish 1-on-1 for me, I will still pick Air Natural. You know, but again, I like Crisanto Uche as a player. I like him as a person, and I believe that his time will still come. He will still be a player for the Super Eagles eventually. Okay, I think that's the last caller we're going to take today because the other person doesn't have a camera. So thank you very much to everyone. Smith Layi, I don't know if you have time tomorrow, but I want us to do a proper match preview on the Libya game because this one we're talking about the squad. So we talk
Uh,
about
we, we
the match
see
in particular.
we see those ones. I just want to say something about Tamino again.
Okay.
Tamino played for Bender Insurance, and Eguavoen is a big fan of Bender Insurance. So what do you expect? Tamino has never played under Eguavoen before. So
Mm,
why is he getting called up? So if you add 1 plus 1 together, it might give you 11.
mm. Okay, okay. So yes, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. We're over the 2 hour mark, and we still have so many of you sticking with us. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you're on X, if you're on Instagram, you don't only want to watch the last 20 minutes of the show. So please subscribe to YouTube so that you can watch the full show, so that you can call in, so that you can always join the program, and so that you can enjoy other nice contents that we have on the channel. More interviews coming in the future after the friendly matches. I have somebody on ground. Rather, after the AFCON qualifying matches, I have somebody on ground that's helping us to create content from Uyo. So you should be seeing some more Super Eagles content, AFCON qualifying content on our channel as well. Um, and yes, we'll see how things go. Samuel Ogaba, normally I like engaging you, but I don't like people that we had a back and forth on Instagram the other day. And one thing that I've noticed is when people don't know how to make a point that is better than your point, the next thing they will say is, "Oh, why can't you speak without sentiment?" Why we always say that's everybody's go-to word. Oh, sentiment, sentiment, sentiment. Just like But I said Akpom deserves an invite over Josh Maja. And the same championship, Akpom scored more goals. And I don't know when you joined. I don't know if you've been listening, but when I spoke earlier, I said when Akpom deserved his call up, he didn't get it. When he was doing well in the championship, I said it. When he deserved it, he didn't get it. But based on today, how are we saying Akpom deserves it based on what he did in championship 2 seasons ago? We're talking about today. When he deserved it, he didn't get it. But as of today, you cannot really argue for Akpom because Akpom is not in the best of form right now. He's a bench boy in Ajax trying to find his way, back to the limelight. Hey, Akko Adams said Eagle Striker Echoes Nigerian 433. Shout out to Akko Adams, man. Thank you for watching, for tuning in. But yes, thank you very much for staying with us, guys. I'm not going to keep on responding to comments, or will not go away today. Match preview should come in the next day or two, but before the game, for sure. The game is on Friday, so we have to do match preview and upload before then. But stay tuned to our YouTube page. Again, if you're on Instagram, if you're on X, and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please, please, please go and subscribe. Like this video if you are watching and you enjoy the content. It costs you absolutely nothing to like. If you'd like to support the channel, you can always leave a super chat. You can always become a member of the channel. It helps us to create more content. It helps me to pay my staff. It helps us to grow. And of course, you can buy merchandise on eaglestrackershop.com. And then you can look fly. You can buy your Nigeria sweatshirt, hoodie, caps, phone cases, and a lot more. It's been a pleasure talking Nigerian football with you guys. As always, my name is AyoT. My co-host is
Smith Layi. See you again next time.
yes.